Before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the action from Charlie and Hot Mike and Ricky Cobb, Clay, myself. I mean, what are you doing? Why would you think about missing that? I mean, and don't forget, it doesn't hurt you because I'll respond to you. If you retweet our stuff, I'll always respond to you because that's what I am. All right. Nothing pisses me off more than guys that just got to fake it to make it. I mean, I can't fake it to make it when you walk around like this, but media monoglyph Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk is furious. He's got his little fists up and he's going to punch somebody with the so-called assault on DUI in America. That's right. He wants DEI. He loves DEI, except, well, he never really did DEI until he got called out by Clay and, of course, Jason Whitlock, calling the executive orders of Donald Trump ingenuous as it is ridiculous. Now, you got to understand, Florio, he of Pro Football Talk, is a lawyer. So he says big words to get us to go, wow, Florio says big words. Ingenuous as it is insidious. That's right. That's right. Ingenuous as it is insidious. With two of the supposedly co-equal branches of government not currently in the mood to even acknowledge such issues, it leaves the task of ensuring fairness to the courts. No, it doesn't. It leaves the task of fairness to people, the people that are hiring, the people that are working to get certain jobs. That's who it leaves the task of fairness to. People that are hiring. If you want to be a douchebag and not hire somebody because of their race, then you're always going to be a douchebag, regardless of whether a court says not to be a douchebag. That's it. That's who it's left to. The courts decide for guys like Florio, but in real life, people decide. Guy walks up, got an MBA from IU. Guy walks up, he got nothing. One guy with the MBA is a great interview, but he's African-American. The guy doesn't hire him. That guy that doesn't hire him is a complete effing douchebag, and his company's going to fail. Now, that's who it's left up to. It is not left up to the courts. It gets to the courts, but it's left up to people, being people. And you don't have to pander. Now, maybe I believe too much in the American person. Maybe I believe too much in equality. Maybe I believe too much in how good African Americans are, how smart African Americans and the, quote, under-marginalized are. Maybe I'm just that way. I don't know. But I'm sure DEI had its place, or it would not have been implemented. I don't think it was just implemented for the hell of it. But at some point, you do have to get back to common sense. At some point, you've got to trust the people in this country and not immediately go to the courts. So we'll see what happens. I got no problem either way. I honestly don't. I don't care what you want to do. I really don't. I obviously, like most people, would say hire the best person. But I also understand over the years, certain people haven't been given a chance. Well, Mike Florio is trying to now fight that battle, but Mike Florio is a fraud. Mike Florio is a con man. He also claims that a pocket of fringe media will respond to his outrage by asking, as he writes, is where were all the white cornerbacks? Well, until 2020, Mike Florio was no fan of DEI. And Mike Florio probably is no fan of DEI right now. He was just made to be. That's right. Florio was made to be the king of DUI by Clay and by Jason Whitlock. Here's a little spat. Just checking. This is Florio coming at Clay. Did you cringe the same way you cringed when Rachel Bonnetta let everyone know what she really thinks about you? Something like that from a colleague had to have stung badly. Probably still does. Probably always will. And it was a spat. A woman got mad at Clay. Everybody gets mad at everybody. Who cares when somebody says, Florio, I don't worry about what people say about me online. Never have, never will. This all started because in 15 years, you've never hired a black writer. What, Florio? Why is that? And why are you dodging the question? Why are you trying to cover up all your fake wokeness? Ooh, that's hard. Florio, you're a smart guy. At least you believe you are. Take a step back. Look at how many people we employ. Look at how little turnover we've had. Here we go. Here we go. I got a black friend. You ready? I got a female friend. One of my 4 full-time writers is female. Have you ever hired a female? Does this mean you're misogynist? See how easy that is? The editor of OutKick for 4 years was a female. So, yes, we have hired a woman. She ran the site. But back to you. With all those millions of page views and huge success you bragged about today, you still couldn't afford to hire a black person in 15 years? This is the stuff that gets me. See, this is the stuff. It wasn't just Clay coming at him. It was also Jason Whitlock. And it was very public, and it was very embarrassing for Florio. See, you got to understand, and this is why people fight so hard for DEI. And I get it. This is why African Americans don't and shouldn't trust white folks that are in the hiring process. See, Florio runs a site, Pro Football Talk. It took off. He was smart. Good for him. He's made a lot of money. He's on NBC. Good for him. But see, this is why African Americans always look with a jaundiced eye at white dudes. You haven't hired any brothers. You're covering a league that's anywhere between 70 to 80% black. That's your thing, Pro Football Talk. And you don't have any African American writers? See, you got to understand this as a white person. These are the things that go on. These are the things that have gone on for so long that African Americans, Joby Wright, our African American assistant, used to call it, we under-eye you. Yeah? I see you out there, Florio. I see you talking, Florio. I see you yapping, Florio. But I don't see you doing any hiring, Florio. See, African Americans are used to the bullshit that we white people throw up. They can see bullshit. This is why I have so much respect for African Americans. I get called a racist all the time because I treat people on an even playing field. And that's not what they want. They being the media. They being white dudes that can't do that. But Florio is the perfect example of not having enough respect or being the fraud that people, and I'll give Bomani Jones credit here, call out all the time. Yeah, I cover a league. Yeah, I'm all for it, but I ain't going to hire you. That's Mike Florio until he got pressure. See, that's the beauty of this place. This place, we don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter at all. And they're not going to cave, but they'll hire anybody. Hell, they hired me. But just a little, Mike Florio, he shows you exactly. The next time you're mad about DEI, and I'm no defender of DEI, but the next time you're mad about it, think about Mike Florio. Think about Mike Florio, who built this up. Smart, very smart. Hell, Florio used to come on my indie show until he made it. We were brothers in a West Virginia bond. And then his thing got big and we couldn't get a hold of him. But I understand that. I ain't mad about it. Good for him. He's moved on, man. Mine was a local show in Indy. But when I saw this about Florio, and now all of a sudden, now he's championing DEI. Now he's mad about it. Really? Again, you got to under-eye somebody like that. Really? Now you're mad about it. Before the courts get involved, the question would be, why didn't you think to hire an African-American writer in a sport that's 80%? When teams were, the Rooney Rule was in. Certainly it was very public that the NFL, the sport that you are making your money off, wanted to hire African Americans. And quite frankly, the NFL did a good job. Look at the sidelines of an NFL game. Look behind the front row. Guys with heads African American. This is why. This is the perfect example of maybe DEI should stick because of guys like Mike Florio. Because guys like Mike Florio cover it, live it, cash checks from it. But boy, oh boy, they don't want to hire it until they're pressured. Seriously. Probably surprises you that I say that, but look, I get it. I said it before and I'll say it again. I get called racist all the time because I treat everybody the same. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? Crazy. Crazy, crazy world. All right, what else we got here? Wait a second. Hold on. Hang on. Wait, hold on. Shortly after Clay's post, Florio hired Miles Simmons, the first black writer in pro football talk history. Really? Does that make Florio a racist, trying to cover his tracks? No, not on the surface. There are a multitude of factors that go into hiring for positions of high interest and limited openings. That's right. That's right. But isn't it interesting that for all these years, I would bet you, stack this high, applications, emails this high, people wanting to work at Pro Football Talk, particularly as it got a bigger platform. But Florio didn't hire anybody until when? Till Clay and Jason Whitlock got after him. And then he did. Seemed easy to hire an African-American. Seemed really easy once he was publicly pressured. Telling you, this is why my African-American friends, former players, always kind of under-eye you. Because they know talk is bullshit. It ain't cheap. Talk is bullshit. It's what you do that matters. And nobody understands that better than African Americans in the workforce. Good for Florio, by the way, for hiring an African American writer. Good for him. Consider this. Consider Woody Harrelson, who when I was in college, people would always say I look like Woody Harrelson. I would say Woody Harrelson looks like me. This is kind of, sort of, maybe before Harrelson became a movie star and he was on Cheers. Harrelson is among the people thoroughly despising Anthony Fauci. I mean, he don't like him. He don't like him at all, joining Joe Rogan on his podcast to discuss his wildly negative opinion of the COVID-19 czar. Here's Woody Harrelson talking about, man, he ain't happy. And when Woody Harrelson ain't happy, the world's going to know it. Anthony Fauci.
And then I read his book, and I was like, okay, well, this book is real. Why isn't he getting sued? If it's not real, why is he getting sued? Why if all these things he's saying about Anthony Fauci during the AIDS crisis, if that's not true, why is he not getting sued? I would sue the fuck out of him if he lied about me and said that I was vaccinating foster kids with experimental drugs that were killing them. I would sue you if that was not true. Like, hey, you fucking liar, I never did that. This is a lie. You can't prove, but it's not a lie. And
if it was a lie, he'd get sued. If it being truth, they just ignored it.
Yeah.
But man, that is a heavy tome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's some info in there just blew my mind. You know, like the way Fauci was able to get these principal investigators from like all these respectable colleges and put them on these committees that ended up saying, yeah, this is the vaccine we'll use. This is we'll use AZT. He started with the AZT thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, AZT was known to be a highly toxic, really ineffective drug.
Yeah.
And, of course, but that was the one they picked. And so they started using that again. And I don't know how many people that killed. That killed friends of mine, AZT was very toxic, and they finally had to yank it.
Yeah.
And now they use different chemical cocktails. But, like, Fauci did some extraordinarily evil shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if all this is true, and I have no reason to say that it's not, this needs to get in front of a court of law. I understand that Fauci is protected, at least by Biden, or pardoned by Biden, but not from civil cases. I mean, I would like to see somebody bring something against Fauci. I'm a little torn on this. I don't know enough about it. I honestly don't. You had to do something at that time. It's very easy to look back. But what I don't like is how everything was downplayed. Like, I have a metric proved to be pretty effective. Boy, oh boy, was that. Woo, hydrochloroquine, pretty effective. Boy, oh boy, was that. Woo, shot down. Bleach, whatever. I mean, people acted like idiots, and these things turn out to be very, very effective. Look, I don't know. I know what I do. I know I take whatever my wife bought, these things that are supposed to save my life, and I take more vitamin C than anything ever because I don't want to go through that again. At least I'm trying not to. But I have friends who legitimate doctors have told them the vaccine saved their life. I've had friends that they said it doesn't. I've had friends, and my wife will tell you she wasn't getting the vaccine. She didn't. I did because I had to go to work. But the truth of the matter is every time somebody dies a little bit weird, now people say, I bet he was vaccinated. That she was vaccinated. I don't know. I honestly don't. But I know this, to Woody Harrelson's point, and when I heard this is immediately what I thought. All right, Fauci should sue, but so should these people. If people were affected, if somebody was used as a guinea pig, where are they suing? Where are they? I mean, if somebody used my son, my daughter, my stepson, my stepdaughter, me, my wife, my mom, whatever, as a guinea pig, my ass is getting a lawyer. I got a family full of them, and we're getting in front of a court of law saying this is wrong. I want to figure this out. That's what I would be doing. So it kind of goes both ways, at least as I view this. You know, as I view this, sure, maybe Fauci should be suing. I don't know. Maybe Fauci just wants this whole thing to go away. He's made his millions. He's done his deal. Boom. And maybe the people that were used as guinea pigs or the people that were wronged in this don't want to bring attention to themselves either. I don't know, but I do know this. If we're going to use Woody Harrelson's logic on suing, then it goes the other way too. Man, I am very open-minded today. I like it. It's a big game tonight right here, Illinois State, so I'm fired up today. No, I'm very fired up. But anyway, doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make sense? I mean, if we're going to sue from Fauci's standpoint, then we should sue Fauci, if that's what we're basing everything on. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's coming. You know, you don't have to sue somebody immediately. Speaking of someone that's been sued, it doesn't happen the next day. So we'll see. All right. File this under two things. One, stupid speaks. Two, sex tape coming. Shannon Sharpe, and good for Shannon Sharpe, by the way. He's gotten himself in front of the media after a disaster with Skip Bayless. He is literally coming to the fence of Steve Smith Sr. Steve Smith Sr. had an affair with a married woman who was in the Marching Ravens, who does look a little bit like Jeff Van Gundy, by the way, but with more hair. Anyway, the wife of the woman called Smith, said, yo, and Smith acted like everybody acts when they get caught, a little bitch. That's what he looked like. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. It's like these mafia guys that go to jail. They can do a stretch for maybe 5 years, but when they go to jail big time, boy, oh boy, these tough guys that have chopped people up, ruined lives, thrown people in rivers, man, do they puss out, as we used to say in Northwest Indiana. I need a deal. I'll rat everybody out. Steve Smith was a little douchebag when confronted, but that's what we expect of dudes that cheat continuously with other men's wives. Shannon Sharpe, well, here we go. After the former NFL wide receiver Smith and current NFL Network analyst was accused of having an extramarital affair with a woman associated with the Ravens marching band by someone claiming to be her husband. Smitty owes you no loyalty. No, just say it. Smitty's a douchebag. We have literally at ESPN, you have literally at ESPN gone to the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator of human being when you get Shannon Sharpe defending this garbage. Here it is.
My guy, I've known Smitty 20 years.
Same.
Great.
Nope.
Just saw it. Hey, he was just at my party at the Super Bowl. Had a great conversation with him. I love the guy. Hard nosed the way he played, X, Y, and Z. But, bro, you need to take that up with your wife.
Yeah.
Smitty owes you no loyalty. He's under no obligation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's going to have to deal with the issue at home, on his own situation. But this I don't know the gentleman's name. That's a situation you got to handle with your wife. She has the loyalty clause. She's the one that has an obligation to you.
Yeah, now we're getting life advice, right? Now we're getting life advice from fucking Shannon Sharpe. Excuse my language. I mean, it just pisses you off. These jackasses are on TV. They've got nobody, and I mean nobody at ESPN, not a soul over them. Not a soul. And this dumbass Shannon Sharpe, he can just go about the business of being about as immoral as you can possibly be. The jackass was accused of being gay, I guess. That's what everybody said. Next thing you know, he throws out a sex tape, and all the white dudes at ESPN are scared to death. And now he's defending a dude for stooping a guy's wife. I mean, how about just being a human being, Shannon? I mean, just be a human being. And I don't even give a rat's ass, but it just drives you nuts that these idiots have a voice, and they have scared the white dudes at ESPN so badly, the Burke Magnuses of the world, the Connor Shells of the world, the Jimmy Pateros of the world, that they don't have to answer to these jackasses. Hell, I've said this before for 10 years. I said I wouldn't go swimming in a pool with a woman that wasn't my wife. Go at it in a pool with a woman that wasn't my wife. And that blew up. These jackasses defend guys that are having freaking sex with other men's wives. These jackasses put out sex tapes. These jackasses are immoral. The white dudes at ESPN need to grow a pair. Honest to God. Or the black dudes, Dave Roberts, grow a pair. No, seriously, why are these idiots pontificating on something they have? Smitty was a great player. Really? Right. Oh, I had a great conversation with him. Yo, man, what's up? I don't know, what's up? I mean, I could see that conversation. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. I mean, at some point, ESPN needs to stand up and say, enough of this bullshit. You guys are so full of shit. You're so hypocritical. It ain't just the black. It's everybody there. It is everybody there. Some point you got to stand up and say, will you shut the fuck up and talk about sports? Well, I don't care. I'm not. Okay, you're done. Now, who's going to hire Shannon Sharpe? Maybe he gets a deal for Shay Shay. But it's just bullshit. It's unadulterated bullshit that these guys sit there and moralize. Honest to God. So this idiot, what's he going to do? Shannon Sharpe, put another sex tape out? Oh, good. That'll solve the problem. Oh, it's unbelievable. Here's a backstory. Tony Martinez, ex-user, has since deleted their account. So the initial accusations only live now in screenshots, save video. We'll see if NFL Network and Smith respond quickly to the allegations. Publicly to the allegations. Really? You think so? Really? You think that's what's going to happen? Yeah, we don't like Steve Smith stooping around. Oh, okay. All right. Can you imagine that conversation? Hey, I like Steve Smith because he was a good football player and we had a good conversation. Okay. See, the thing about it is neither of these guys, Smith or Shannon Sharpe, would really like it much if someone was effing their wife. I applaud the guy Martinez. I do. Hey, seemed like what he said was true because Smith's reaction was to crawl up like a little baby, act like a little bitch. I'm sorry. Yeah? Best thing Smith can do is shut up and let it go away and let the idiots around him defend him. My mom's mad at me. Potty mouth. She gave me the thumbs down. No more, Mom. No more potty mouth. Sorry, I got excited. Sorry. Former Duke coach, Coach K, Rick Pitino, floated the idea that the ACC Big East should merge to create a basketball super conference to counter college football's massive influence on athletic department's budget. Well, Val Ackerman, she doesn't think that's going to happen. She doesn't sound like she's opposed to that idea. Of course she's not. Her league doesn't have football. If you're the Big East commissioner, you're begging the ACC to come in. You're begging more teams. You're begging more money. You're begging more TV rights. When you got two Hall of Famers opining about not only the history of college basketball, but the future of college basketball, you have to listen. I take very seriously any idea around the future of college basketball, what it means for the Big East, what the Big East should be doing. I'm not sure I can opine right now what that sort of combination would look like, but we got some related ideas that we're hatching here about alliances, about who we should be working with as we look to secure not only the future of the Big East, but the future of college basketball. Val Ackerman could care less about the future of college basketball, and rightfully so. She should care about the future of the Big East. No, seriously, that's what she should care about. I mean, honest to God, Val Ackerman is in charge of the Big East, and for her to get the ACC in conjunction aligned with the Big East, that would be a win like no other. Now, I don't know if it's great, good, bad, happy, angry, or sad for college basketball. One thing I do know is college basketball has been absolutely freaking awesome this year. It's been fantastic. It's been every year it seems like it's great. But to the average fan, March Madness is the only thing that matters. And that's college basketball's fault. That shouldn't be. But that's the way we've couched this. We have games that are in the Bahamas instead of at Rupp. We have games that are in Maui instead of at Assembly Hall. You move some of these games, these big-time matchups, to home sites, and that changes everything, in my opinion. Maui, great, run its course. Battle of Atlantis, run its course. Get all these games at home, even if they have to be doubleheaders in Rupp. How great would that be? Louisville playing Indiana, Purdue playing Kentucky like we used to do over here at the Big Four Classic at the Hoosier Dome. How great would that be? That's a part of it. But, boy, for Val Ackerman, that would be sensational. I mean, her league could be dying on the vine. The basketball is great. The coaches are fantastic. The players are wonderful. But football rules the roost with the money. It does. Let's see what happens, but I would be all for this. I have great relationships with the other commissioners, great respect for Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC in particular. I would say I can't really comment on, but there's been some conversations about what we could all be doing together. Again, not only to secure our futures, but to make sure that college basketball stays strong and relevant as football interests continue to dominate much of the headlines and much of the bandwidth of the leagues that we consider peer conferences. No question. I like anything done. I'll tell you something else. ESPN no longer is going to have baseball after this year. If basketball were smart, and Calipari and I have talked about this forever, they should put in August, in July, college basketball. That's right. A doubleheader over here at Gainbridge, in Rupp, in Mackey, wherever. They should. Look, every other sport has 2 seasons. Softball has a fall season, and their regular season happens in the spring. Football has spring football. Baseball has a fall season. Their season happens when? You got it. In the spring. Volleyball has a spring season, and their sport happens when? In the fall. Every sport but basketball has 2 seasons. You can't tell me that ESPN wouldn't love. They're going to need inventory. There's only so much of Angel Reese missing layups that you can show. You can't tell me. And I'm going to ask Boeheim about this. He may not understand it, or he may be in front of it. I don't know. I like it. You got to do it. I like it, Val Ackerman. Do your thing. Bam! Brian Windhorst. See, Mom, I got through that without swearing. Brian Windhorst is tired of seeing the NBA All-Star Game getting bashed, especially tired of people constantly comparing it to the greatness that was the Four Nations Cup. Here is Windhorst.
There's been this conversation, Brian, about should the NBA entertain bringing elements of the NHL idea to improve All-Star Weekend. And I love your thoughts on this subject. Sir, you have the floor.
Number one, congratulations to the NHL. It was a terrific event. Why does the NHL's success have to be called the NBA's failures, which I've seen repeatedly over the last few days? Why does that have to be? What does it one have to do with the other? That's one. Number two, while this was a great event, they are not having it next year. Next year, they are the Olympics in Milan. I read a report today that said the NHL said they will not hold it in 27 or 29, and in 28, there's going to be the Hockey World Cup, so they're not having it. So this was the last one of these for the decade. Congratulations. It was great, but it's not like the NHL has now got an annual event. Number three, it's an in-season tournament. You're talking about how inventive it is and everything. It's an in-season tournament. The NBA had an in-season tournament first. The NBA stole that idea too, but it's an in-season tournament. Now, it's an effective in-season tournament because it's countries, and maybe the NBA should look at that. But the idea that the NBA is getting put down and denigrated because of a great thing the NHL did, I don't get it, and I don't think it's fair, and I'm not going to participate in it.
Give Brian a pan and some grease and let that man cook.
Well, Windhorst said himself that he had lost all interest. It's so funny we're talking about Brian Windhorst. I knew Brian when he was just a fat little 25-year-old running around Akron covering our games at Bowling Green. It's so great. I'm so happy for him because I love the dude. I think he's great, but it's so funny that Brian Windhorst, is an authority on the NBA now. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things. Windhorst said himself he's lost all interest in the NBA All-Star game and avoids it like the plague prior to the 2025 NBA All-Star Weekend. All right? Yeah. Plenty of sports fans enjoy both the NBA and the NHL. I do. And the stark advantage in overall competitive that the NHL had over the NBA made it an incredible, easy decision for those who were forced to choose which event they wanted to watch. It's something that I've told you about. It comes down to pride. Personal pride. NBA players have none. There is no pride in an American NBA player. None. Zero. Zip. They are entitled. They are pains in the ass. They are overpaid. And frankly, they're exhausting to listen to. They are exhausting to watch. And certainly exhausting during the All-Star game. You do have an obligation to the game. This is Charles Barkley speaking. People always talk about leave the place better than you came in. I don't know if you all understand that. Complaining about the All-Star Forum does nothing good for the product. Right. And that's he's saying to players. Players complaining about the All-Star game does it no good. Players should be out there celebrating, should be in dunk contests, should be in three-point contests. Mac McClung should only be at the All-Star weekend if he bought a ticket. But we don't get that. Good thing about it, I'm not going to lie, we don't have to televise that thing anymore. I'm not even upset. Because if you all don't take it serious, talking about the players, why should the network and fans take it seriously? So y'all complaining about the format, you all are the reason the format was so bad. Charles speaks truce here. He speaks truce. You all hate it. You all won't play. You all won't do this. Then you all won't do that. And then you won't play the game. So now we're going to keep tweaking it because that's what Adam Silver does. Adam Silver cannot do what David Stern did. When David Stern was the commissioner, he could call up the player and say, look, dumbass, you're in the All-Star game. Look, dumbass, you're acting like a moron. Sorry, Mom. You're going to do this. Look, Coach, you're going to dress better. Look, you acted – that's – Adam Silver calls up. They're like, man, get out of here. That's what happens when you accede control to 18 to 40-year-olds. Basic children. When you are the league, you're the billion dollar entity. Drive you nuts.